drinking my tea because I want it for like the aesthetic. You're like,
Oh,
fuck.
fuck. Should have gotten the large. The worst is when it is a large. I'm just kidding. I've never done that. Here we go. Today we are talking about The Bachelorette. We
Whoop,
have
whoop.
2 bachelorettes this season, Gabby Wendy and Rachel Recchia, I believe.
Is it Rashea or
Rashea? That sounds cool. I hope it's
Rashea?
Rashea.
I like that.
I like Rashea.
Rashea.
We're going to call her Rachel
Or
Rashea.
is it Rashea?
I have literally
She's
no idea.
Italian, so it's probably an Italian
Oh,
pronunciation.
then it might be Recchia because there's 2
Recchia.
C's in the H.
I don't know. I'm horrible at pronouncing things. my poor Mercury is not made for this.
That's okay. I only have this inkling because of all of the Italian I had to sing in college.
Okay, cool.
I think
I'm gonna
it's
trust
Recchia,
you
but,
on the pronunciations.
but I could be wrong. I'll admit it if I find it out. So yeah, we have these 2 bachelorettes. They were given 32 men. How many people does the Bachelorette usually do? Because it's not usually that many.
Is it not usually that many?
I
See,
don't think it's 32.
I weirdly thought that they brought in like 30 men and then they weeded
Mhm.
them out and only kept like 15 of them or
Mhm.
something, where they gave them like a
Yeah.
lot of options, but then
Yeah.
they weeded out. But I feel like I normally never really pay that much attention to the first episode. It just kind of
Mhm.
like is because I don't really get attached because a lot of them
Yeah.
are going to be gone soon. So
Exactly. Yeah, I
what's
haven't
the
really.
point?
Yeah, I don't know how many they usually do, but I do think I remember them saying this is the most contestants we've ever had. So,
Yeah, it was
yeah,
like a
they.
record number.
And then in the first rose ceremony, they're like, we're just not going to eliminate people except for the 4 people we definitely don't have a connection with.
Honestly, I loved that though.
I did
And
too.
wait, I feel like I need their charts. Hold on. I need to
Yeah.
look.
So what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at their charts and kind of going through what the way that we're seeing their astrology show up in their season,
Mhm.
both with the synastry of the guys that they're dating and with their friendship, because they're it's a pretty cool friendship so far. They have that, I didn't watch the last season they were on, but from what I've gathered, they both got to, was it the final 4 of the last season?
Yes, I did watch it.
You did?
I
Okay.
can fill you in. Okay.
Perfect. Go ahead.
So basically what happened is that Clayton,
Mm.
he got to the final girls
Uh-huh.
and he had sex with all of them. And he didn't really well, okay, never mind. Let me phrase that. He had sex with
Okay.
all of them except for Susie.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. And like Susie was kind of like, you did what? You know, and was like, well, I can't be with you because I just can't deal with this. Like that you wouldn't talk to all of us about it and have like a conversation. I don't think it was necessarily like
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like a sex shamey thing. It was more of
Mm-hmm.
like a, hey, why didn't we all have
Mm-hmm.
dialogue about this? Because this is an important part of the process and like we should talk about it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Susie pieced out. And then
Wow.
Clayton was left with they were like the final 3. So
Uh-huh.
then Clayton was left with Rachel and with Gabby. He
Mm-hmm.
also told all of them that he loved them. So that was the part that made me mad because I was like, why would you say that to someone? Multiple people. He told Rachel first, I would just like to say.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And like none of them had any inkling of an idea of where he was at with the other girls because like none of them were really talking about it, you know? So it got to a point where Susie left, and so Rachel and Gabby were automatically put as the final 2 people, right? And both of them didn't like that because they felt like it was just a cop out, you know, and like a, oh, well, you didn't want us. We're just your final
So
options.
Susie left,
Yes.
and then there was 3 girls left.
No, it was just Rachel and Gabby.
Oh, so it was
Yeah. They were the
so we
3
didn't.
that were left. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So there is that. And then Clayton, after this whole thing, like Gabby decided that she didn't want to do it anymore because she was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I just feel so heartbroken. And
Yeah.
Rachel was like very heartbroken too. But she was willing to still do it, but she didn't want to do it unless Gabby was going to do it because she didn't want to just be the winner, like
By
by default.
default. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not actually winning.
Yeah. So then Clayton convinces Gabby to still keep going. Right. And then a week later, I don't even know if it was a week later, like the next week, however long it is between recordings, Clayton decides that he just can't get over, like after they meet his family, he decides that he just can't get over Susie and that like
Oh,
yeah, and that Susie's the person that he wants to be with. So he goes and does this whole thing where he like tries to make up with Susie. Yeah. And
did
then
they make up?
yes, and they're like
What?
together. Yes, I know. Right.
Susie girl. Oh my God.
I mean, like if you like someone and you want to be with them, like it's good for you. I'm glad that you're happy, but like
I
why did you
guess
have to
so.
hurt people so bad on the way to get there?
I'm looking
I
at
don't know.
his birth chart right now because I
Oh my
have to
God,
know.
please.
April 29th, 1993.
Ooh. Okay, let's see.
That's
I
gonna
actually
be.
I haven't seen his birth chart before, so this will be
Funny. I'm pulling up my Luna Astrology. It's a really cool. This is not a sponsored ad, but
we have no sponsorships yet.
no, this is our attempt. Luna Astrology is an on it's an online astro chart drawer. It's a monthly subscription, or you can buy it by the year. And I really like it. It's online, so you can use it anywhere, on your phone or on your laptop, and it's so pretty. Okay,
Those are
so
really good
let's.
ads.
Thanks.
Hashtag ad.
Hashtag ad.
Not
Clayton.
really. No.
I wrote his name Callyton, and I'm gonna leave it.
Gallatin.
Callyton,
That sounds like a
aka
medieval kind of novel character, like
It
Knight
does.
Calliton,
Callyton.
the Knight of Gloucestershire. I think I butchered that word. Please don't hate me,
Worcestershire?
British
I don't
people.
I don't know what that word is anyway.
Is it Gloucester? I don't know. It's one of those like
Worcestershire sauce? What do you say?
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire? Is that how you're supposed to say it?
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire is another one of
Worcestershire? Okay.
you know what word I can't say?
What?
The Rural.
A-U-R
R
oral?
R U
Oral?
R A L.
Rural.
Yeah, I can't say that word.
Rural. It's a weird one to say.
Rural.
Rural. That's
I
amazing.
just kind of say rule and then like go from there. And then that's good enough.
Rural. Rural. All right. It took me a really long time to figure out how to spell Columbia because I kept spelling it like the country and not like the
Oh,
American version. All right. So don't have his rising time exactly, but let me try and get it to be.
we can like do some fun guessing, you
Yeah,
know.
I'm gonna try to get it on the Aries Ascendant so we can just picture
Yeah, that's easy.
it. Yeah.
I love that everything defaults to Aries Ascendant. It like works very nicely.
It makes it easy to read at least.
Hmm.
That's the one thing about this software. It does not default to Aries.
Oh, interesting.
So I
Oh, you have to like
sleuth work.
go to noon. I think typically noon is whenever it'll go to Aries, right?
No, it depends on your location.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Ha ha ha. Science.
Let's see. All right. I think this one's going to be about 5 a.m. We tried midnight. We tried 10 a.m.
Does it do the
Here we
thing where
go.
you can like click forward in time and backward in time and
It
like
when you have a chart that you're working with, yes. When you're
okay.
putting in a natal chart, no, you have to keep editing it until you find the time that you want.
That's nice for zodiacal releasing though. If you're like a little bit unsure about like what your rising time would be and you kind of want to
Yeah,
see like going a little bit before and a little bit after.
exactly. Let's try 440 because I want it to be at 0. Because I'm a nerd. Gorgeous. Share.
Okay,
Oh,
now
that's
I
not
can see it.
helpful. There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Ooh.
that's interesting.
Yeah. So
What pops out to you first? Like, what's the first thing?
Sun square moon.
I like that he's in a Saturn return right now. That's very interesting. That
Ooh,
like the
he
Bachelor, yeah,
is.
the Bachelor was a Saturn return.
Mm.
That's kind of interesting.
Makes me wonder if it was like a seventh house. Is he a Leo rising with like that 0? Wow, that 0
Yeah.
Mars, 0 Leo.
Wow.
Ooh.
And that moon. It's not like the
Uh-huh.
tightest conjunction ever, but it still's like
Yeah.
mid-strength,
And we
like
don't know
maybe.
where it was that day. This is at 4
Yeah.
in the
Oh
morning.
yeah.
So if he was
Mhm.
born at midnight, it would have been closer.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true. We do have to account for
mhm.
changes. Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, okay. So now I already have Gabby and Rachel's charts kind of living in my head.
Mm,
So I'm already making a
yes.
couple interesting
Yeah.
connections. Yeah, they were not gonna work synastry
Mm-mm.
wise. Look at that.
No.
It probably would have worked better with Gabby because of that moon and Chiron.
Yeah, yeah, because they both have Leo moons, right? Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
there
We
was
both,
like an
yeah.
initial spark there where like you
Mm-hmm.
could see like the okay, there's like that homey, you kind of want to do the same self-care things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
Um,
Or like you like to be appreciated in the same ways. Because Leo moons like to
yeah.
be told that they're doing a good job and that they like, you know what I mean? Not
Yeah.
necessarily like they don't I said that bad. They want to be like validated, you know?
Yeah, totally. And
We
then
all
I'm looking
do.
at the Aries Venus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot more fire in his chart than I would have
Yeah.
thought, you know, just like first off.
It's a lot of fire and then that Taurus sun.
Mm-hmm.
And that Taurus sun ruled by that Aries Venus, trining that Leo Mars, like that's just a lot of fire energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then with that, I mean, you have two fixed luminaries squaring each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's,
Yeah. That would be painful to have the sun moon square like that, you know. Or maybe
yeah,
maybe painful isn't the right word. They're
maybe,
just tension.
yeah. And it's interesting because they're each in each other's, I won't say
Oh,
sign of exaltation. Well,
never mind. There's mutual reception then, yeah.
yeah, there
So
is an
yeah.
interesting mutual reception thing going on because
Yeah.
the moon is in the sun's domicile and
Mm-hmm.
then the sun is in the moon's exaltation. So
But maybe less tension there
less
because of the mutual
tension, but
reception. Yeah.
definitely there is definitely tension.
Yeah.
But
I think traditionally, if there wasn't mutual reception, if it was just a sun square moon by itself, there would be like the friction that was a little bit uncomfortable between like
mm,
your ego and your physical
yeah.
needs.
So this might be now that we've kind of seen Clayton's chart a little bit. I hope we've been describing it well enough for our podcast listeners. But
Yeah.
sun at 9 Taurus, squaring moon at 7 Leo, Mars at 0 degrees of Leo, trining Venus and Aries at 4 degrees. It's kind of a loose trine. Is it applying? Well, no, it would be separating because Venus is moving faster. I don't see anything. I don't Jupiter is retrograde, but that's
Yeah.
pretty much that,
It's
and
in
Uranus,
Libra.
and yeah,
It's
Jupiter
in
and
Libra.
Libra at
Mhm.
6
It's really
retrograde.
just the fact that The Bachelor was a Saturn return for me that I'm like,
Yeah,
wow. And he's about to have since he's like that late degree Saturn return, you know,
yeah,
like he hasn't even had his direct hit yet. So
yeah,
it's
exactly.
that was all kind of like a build up. So I wonder if something will happen with his relationship with Susie, more
Yeah.
like on the back end of it, where it
Uh-huh.
might not be like stable. I don't know.
What? Bachelor Nation? Not
What?
stable? What are you talking about?
What?
That's
No.
never happened before. Yeah. And then we have kind of Mr. Outlier Mercury at 21 of Aries.
Mhm.
Looks like in an exact square with Neptune, which is interesting.
Oh,
There's
Neptune,
some tension between
Mercury.
him and Gabby because she
Yeah.
has that some Neptune in Cap.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Which, I
interesting.
mean, hard aspects are not always like a bad thing. Oh, he does
No.
have like the, oh, never mind. That's a lot of spirit. Haha.
Yeah.
JK.
It's that. Oh yeah.
I was
For
like,
those
there's a
looking,
grand
yeah,
cross.
the
It's not a grand
rising
cross.
and the lot of spirit and all the lots are not accurate in this because I've
Yeah.
adjusted it to be 0 Aries because we don't know his birth time.
Yeah.
Um,
So we don't know any of the
yeah.
angles. I wish we knew the angles. I love angle synastry so much.
Angle synastry is where it's at.
Oh, you
Yeah,
guys are going to hear that a billion
definitely.
times
Oh
over
my
this
God.
podcast.
Yeah, that was something we figured out real quick. All
Yes.
right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to get our ladies' charts ready to
Yes.
go.
Do we want to do the announcement chart first, or do we want to go ahead and show Gabby's and Rachel's?
I want to show theirs
Okay.
so that we have that kind of after we just
Yes.
showed Callieton's.
Yes, because then we'll be able to see their kind of interactions. But I agree.
Exactly.
I don't think that either of them would have been good long-term matches.
Yeah, exactly. Can you see it? Just
Are you
kidding.
gonna burst out into a random song?
Probably.
I feel like as we get going,
Oh, that's Clayton again. Gosh dang it.
he just won't leave. Like,
I mean, and that was a theme in in our first episode. He was all over the place. All those guys used him in
hmm. Oh my
their
God,
intro. It
yeah.
was like painful. I just did the same thing again. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the most technology savvy.
Neither of
Or
us
I
are.
am. Yeah, we don't have any like good techie. You more than I with your Aquarius going on, but
I say as I had Wayne come in here and like do my webcam for me because he couldn't figure it out.
oh my god. Yeah, Austin did help me set up all of this. So
Yeah. I don't know.
um
I'm not good at it. You would think with like maybe the fifth house stuff that I would be better, but no.
exactly, but no.
Yeah.
And you would think with all my third house stuff that it would be something, but
Yeah. I feel like
no.
technology is really interesting because I feel like you can make an argument for it being based in multiple houses. Like I know that
Mhm.
like Aquarius does rule technology, yes,
Yeah.
but like I feel that with games being a thing, you know, in the fifth house, there's like that video games falling into the fifth house, right?
Mhm.
But then also like third house, near environment. We all
Yeah.
have like this in our near environments now, like as
Yeah.
society has progressed. As I
Yeah.
go on a digression.
Now to figure out the age-old question. Can you see
Okay.
my screen?
I am sharing my
I
screen
am
now.
sharing my screen. Can you see it?
Not yet.
No, I know. I
Oh,
haven't done
okay.
it yet.
Oh, you were
Can
actually
you
asking.
I'm doing it. Okay. So I'm gonna once again. I see one of my problems is I'm on a Mac and I am not versed in Macs.
Oh no.
I am not, but that's okay. All right. So I'm going to share my screen once again. This is this is Gabby's chart. Let me make this nice and big for us.
I just love her
So,
chart. It feels so like I feel like
oh,
Gabby and I would be really good friends if we
yeah.
ever met in
Oh my
person.
God.
Like
Oh, if
we
maybe I
would
could,
have so much to talk about.
I need
Are
to,
you good there?
I'm struggling, folks. It's okay. We're just going to get an image
What
of.
planetary hours is it that we're seeing?
What?
It's
Tell me.
Jupiter. It's Jupiter. It was Saturn
Jupiter.
whenever we started recording this, but
Mm,
now it's switched.
how do I?
That doesn't have any.
Oh, stop share. I'm a silly goose. Sharing my screen. Da, da, da. Yes. So this
Yay!
is Gabby's chart. Adjusted for 0 degrees of Aries Ascendant. So that's not accurate. Same with a lot of spirit and fortune. However, this is what we're looking at. It's the most mega Capricorn stellium.
Yes, I love it.
I do too.
I just want to meet Gabby in person and just see what happens because I feel like there would be so much
So
coolness going
much.
on. And like the fact that she has the Sag Mercury, love it.
Mm-hmm.
Here for it.
Yeah.
Are
Sag
we
Mercury
yeah.
retrograde.
Ooh.
Yeah. Very interesting. So I
Yeah.
think the thing that strikes out, let's go through it a little bit for our audio listeners. We've got up in Capricorn, Uranus at 9 degrees, the sun at 11, Neptune at 14. So that's our first little cluster.
Mhm.
And then a little bit later, we've got Saturn at 25, Venus at 26, and the North Node at 28. So 5 planets and the North
Holy
Node.
Saturn.
And yep, Saturn is in there as well.
Yes.
So Saturn is in domicile, ruling all these guys.
Mm.
And then we've got Mars. Mars in Taurus is so funny to me because it's like the one outlier planet.
Yeah.
The one,
Well,
because then
no,
you've
she's
got
got her moon and
Jupiter and
Jupiter.
Moon. Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
because then I
Leo.
was going to say you've got Moon and Jupiter down in
Mhm.
Leo, and like the South Node is at 28 of Cancer. So everything's still kind of clustered in those corners. And then Mars and Taurus is like, by the way,
Hello, I'm still here.
hi. Yeah, and then she has the Leo moon at 8 degrees of Leo, and Jupiter's retrograde at 11 degrees of Leo
Yeah.
as well.
It does make me think that Clayton and her would have had that like Mercury Mars thing going on,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's interesting.
that is interesting.
Like a part of me is kind of like, how did they get that far?
It
You
had to
know,
be the moons. It had to be. They
maybe.
were both a Leo moon, and I
Yeah.
think his is at 9 degrees. So that's
Oh my God, yeah.
they're like almost exact. It's
Mhm.
between 7 and 9 for that day. So
Yeah.
like,
It just goes to show that it does take a really long time to get to know someone, like
yeah,
genuinely know someone,
yeah.
because you can have that initial, which it's funny, like my parents, they're both Pisces moons, very closely together,
Mm,
and they knew each other for 3 months and then they got married.
mm.
And
I
so it was like a
wonder.
very,
I wonder
very
if.
like, I'm sorry,
Sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, 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 you're good, you're good.
I was gonna say, I wonder if that contributes to like an immediate sense of
Hmm.
familiarity that
Hmm.
you would feel safe in,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
so then that would kind of make you ignore. That is so common for as soon as you feel comfortable and safe and seen by someone, you kind
yeah.
of just you
You just
ignore.
let it happen. And I mean, that
Yeah,
was like the the 90s, like
yeah.
people got married a lot faster.
And now
And
we
I
have the
think,
Bachelorette.
yeah, yeah. Now we have the Bachelorette. Here we are. And for us, like we had the instant moon synastry as well. So there was
Yeah.
that kind of like instant connection. It does feel
Hmm.
like very weird. So honestly, yeah, actually
Yeah,
thinking about lived experience and then looking at it right there, that makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Hmm.
Which is makes me, let me pull on up. Let me stop sharing this one and let me figure out how to share the next one. But it makes me think about Rachel's chart and thinking about Clayton's and how he had nothing going on in Pisces, but he did have that Jupiter Libra.
Yes, and
And
she does have, which,
mhm,
okay, do we think that she's a Libra moon or do we think that she's not? Because she could also, I feel like she feels Venusian, but I don't
yes,
know because we don't know her like on a
that's true. She
on a deep
feels
level.
Venusian.
She's
However,
she
she
seemed to have
also
a good
has
relationship.
a Taurus Venus.
Yes,
So she is
that is loud.
inherently Venusian. Here's this guy.
Because her moon could technically be in Scorpio if she was born like really late in
Mhm.
the day.
Yeah,
But
so this chart is set for 6:45 a.m. For a 0 degree Aries rising. Um, and you do see that moon at 25 degrees of Libra. But regardless, she still would have had the North Node and Chiron in Libra. So
mhm.
those interacting with Jupiter definitely.
Yeah,
That's
there would
really
have been
interesting
something.
that his Jupiter, I mean, his Jupiter right on her Chiron.
Yeah. Honestly,
That's really interesting.
they might have had some like childhood kind of
Connection history
yeah, or
thing.
she felt
Yeah.
comfortable sharing about her childhood maybe because of that
Yeah.
Jupiter.
And I mean, Wounded Healer and him expanding those topics, like, yeah, he
Mm.
did. She got real hurt and
Oh
went
my
through
God.
huge transformation
Yeah.
through that.
That
Yeah.
is a good read.
Yeah. And the
That's a good
North
read.
Node that North North Node there. Almost makes me think that experience had to happen in order for her to catapult into this
Mhm.
next,
Well,
because
yeah,
yeah,
this is
go ahead.
big for her. Like
That,
this will be a big, and this is priming her for her Saturn return, like
yeah,
she's not in it yet, but this is like all of these things that have been happening with the Bachelor have been leading up to hers.
yeah.
So,
And as soon as Saturn enters Pisces, it is going to immediately hit her Mercury at one
yeah.
degree of Pisces. And then it'll continue to hit the rest of her Pisces stellium with
Oh, poor
Mars at
baby.
17. Mars at 17 and Sun at 18. That's a real close conjunction. I don't think I realized how close that was.
I didn't think about how, yeah,
Wow.
it's technically not Kazemi, but
It's getting there.
it's getting
Well,
there.
it's
Yeah.
past Kazemi, I guess.
Is it? Is it? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just barely.
Okay.
And then Saturn at 26. So 4 planets in there. I wonder what will happen. Now I'm just like hypothesizing what is going to happen next year when Saturn hits that Mercury.
I mean,
Um,
with Saturn going through my whole stellium, it's been very weird.
yeah. And I imagine coming out of the Bachelorette too, like that'll be her first year. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so intrigued.
Oh, you know what, too?
Yeah.
I almost, what if this is some 12th house shit too? Where,
Mm,
it's like she's almost like isolated for the first time, like or maybe more of like I see fourth house kind of thing,
mm-hmm.
where she's like finally going to be out of the public eye for like the first time in a few
Yeah.
years, because she's been like very in the spotlight for a long time, but
Yeah.
this is the first time she's going to get a break for
True.
a while, or allegedly. I don't know. We
Yeah.
assume that she's getting a
And
break.
right, let me see, her birthday's in March. So right now she's in a third house year.
Oh,
Um,
okay. That would make sense
hmm
for it to be
So
a
then
fourth
she'll
house
go,
year then.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Her birthday's on March 8th, and Saturn ingresses into Pisces, I think shortly after that. It's the month of March of 2023.
Oh, damn.
So her solar return,
It's gonna be
like that year
it's
is going to be, yeah.
it's like a you kind of situation, really.
Yes. Yeah, dude. I'm
Yeah.
also going, I just entered my 4th house here. So
Oh, that's so nice.
we love to see it. I'm
I
excited.
also love just touching on like her and Gabby's stuff a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like she has like the Jupiter in Gabby's whole thing. What does Gabby have closest at 12 degrees? I know that she has
I think
what was it?
it's the sun at 11.
At 11.
Yeah.
Oh,
Isn't that cute?
that's so cute.
You know what? I have both of their charts in a
Oh, yeah.
biwheel together. So
Oh,
let
let's do
me
that.
pull that up. Yeah. Because then it's
Let's
really
call
cool.
it
You can
charts.
see them all. I love looking at charts.
Yes, I love it too.
It's genuinely so pretty here.
So then I guess we could say that like Rachel is helping Gabby expand her sense of self and like her identity a little bit,
Yeah, that's so interesting.
Mhm.
That makes sense, like expanding her. Because it's funny, even though Rachel is what, 26 and Gabby's 31. So Rachel's younger, she's my
Mhm.
age. Um, okay.
She has so
She,
much wisdom.
yeah. And I feel like Gabby has been getting a lot of confidence from Rachel, and like
Yes.
having someone to talk to about this stuff has been
Mhm.
so, I think it's definitely helping
Yeah.
Gabby process. Like I didn't watch
Yes.
their last season. I'm not sure how they were before
Mhm.
that, but it's been really cool to,
I think they got along, but I don't think it was like the freedom to be as good of friends as they are now, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Where
that
I think that
does.
they liked each other and there was definitely that understanding there, but I don't think there
Hmm.
was the ability that they felt, because they're still dating the
Yeah.
same person. So I think it was like
Yeah.
a little bit
Which
awkward.
which they're back into that
They're back
now.
there.
So all right, let me grab
Yes.
this. Dial.
And I think like Gabby probably I feel like she respects Rachel in a way,
Mm-hmm.
where,
Definitely.
I think like Rachel helps bring more of that like Venusian, Jupiterian, benefic feel to
Yeah.
Gabby, because Gabby is like so malefic, right? And
Yeah. And
um,
and
mhm,
Rachel's so benefic.
yeah,
Like it's really cute. They are really
yeah.
great um halves to each other. So
Hmm.
for those of you who are listening, we're looking at a bi-wheel of it's Rachel's chart on the outside, Gabby's chart on the inside. And the things I'm immediately drawn to is definitely the Jupiter right on Gabby's
Hmm.
sun, That's really
Yeah.
cute. I'm looking to see what
I
else is.
feel like, yeah, I feel
I
like a
mean,
lot of times I just have to take
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 it
stuff
in.
in for a second. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I should be saying stuff, but I can't.
No. Well, here's another one. Uh, well, we don't know exactly where Miss Rachel's moon is, but it's
Mhm.
most likely squaring either Saturn, Venus, or the North Node in Gabby's chart because it's at
Mhm.
late Libra and she has all that late Capricorn.
Yeah, which
So I
is
feel
not
like that's a
necessarily a bad thing.
no,
That's
I
more
like
of
that
just like where
because looking at
they're.
their angles, they're not angles, but their aspects, it's like they have mostly very supportive
Hmm.
aspects between
Yeah,
their
it's like they're supposed to
mhm.
be almost like supportive, sisterly kind of a
Yeah.
situation, it feels
Mm-hmm.
like, you know. Um,
Exactly.
Definitely more of a connection for them. I would say that they would fall into each other's seventh houses more so than just like the like I feel like it's a deeper friendship
Yeah.
and then just like the general like, oh, I know this person and they're a TV co-star. Like
Yeah. It feels
I
very deep.
this feels like something where they are going to be friends for a very long time.
Yeah. Because even like, so Gabby has all of that Capricorn and then Rachel has all that Pisces. So we have Saturn and Jupiter sextiling each other, like
Yeah.
all of these conversations.
Yeah, their sons have
Um,
a loose sextile. I mean, like all of that
yeah.
kind of like
Their
loosely
Saturns have a
sextiles.
loose, their
Yeah.
Saturns are almost exactly sextile.
Her Gabby's Venus is exactly
Mm-hmm.
sextile Rachel's
Yeah.
Saturn. So
It's a
it's
very like
very
flowing, like it's like, oh yeah, this works if you want it to.
yeah.
And it
Mhm.
is. It's working because they want it to.
Yeah. I
Um,
feel like there's a theme of Saturn and Venus over and over again in both of their charts. Like it feels,
yes.
which is interesting then that they're doing the relationship in this type of way, you know?
I think that's why it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I think that they will run into some tensions with each other
Yeah.
as a result of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know if
Definitely.
either of them are gonna necessarily find what they're looking for. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
This
don't
would
know about
be
that one.
yeah, and this would be a good time to pull up
Yeah, the announcement.
the announcement chart. Yeah, because
Yeah.
1 hour later.
Okay.
there it
Haha.
is. I see her.
Technology. Oh no, did
Love
it cut
it.
off?
No, it's okay because I'm gonna do it here anyway.
Okay.
2022. Tell me why I wrote
Tell me why.
ain't nothing better. Frank. Tell me
Oh, I just
why.
started compressing it. I don't need to touch technology.
Los Angeles.
This
Say
is why you never put a Sag Mercury in charge of shit. Honestly, it kills me sometimes when I think about the fact that Mercury, if you're a Cap Sun, can only be in Sagittarius, Capricorn, or Aquarius.
yeah. Yup.
I'm like,
That always gets me. It really does.
I feel like it creates three different brands of Capricorns, which is now Sparkly Cat entry. If you guys haven't read that, go look at it. They're
I have not,
fantastic.
but that should be awesome.
Yeah, it's
That
like
would
the
be cool
three
to talk
types.
about.
Yeah, it's like she does, or they do every single
Mhm.
sign, and they break it down
Yes.
into like the different Mercuries for each of the sun signs, and then it's
Ooh.
it's really really interesting.
Oh my God, I have to go read that. I love their work.
Mhm.
The first stuff I saw by them was the Venus series.
Mhm.
I read the Scorpio Venus, which you can probably relate.
Yes,
And I was like, oh my God, this is Austin.
I just want to eat you. I
That's
asked,
the exact
yeah,
phrase.
I
That's
know.
it.
And I asked Lane because he has cute aggression, right?
Mhm.
Or like sometimes he like anaconda squeezes me, you know, and he's like, "Ah, I just want to like, I just want to envelop you, and I'm like, okay,
Yes. Same thing. He'll just be like bite my. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I
Like
know.
it's
Lane does that to me
Scorpio
too.
Venus.
It hurts. Like he just comes up to me and bites my arm, and I'm like, please stop.
Sure.
I did not come here to be bitten.
Your Aquarius Venus is like, excuse me. What
Oh
is
my
this? I did
like,
not
did not
sanction
ask for
this.
We did not write a contract about this, so I can't agree to it.
Oh my God. All right. So let me put on up. Here we go. All right. So this is the approximate chart for the announcement. Regardless of the time or rising, we definitely had that the big old Pisces pile up, which is why I think this will probably be largely, I want to say largely focused on Rachel. Like I feel like she might
Yeah.
have like a significant arc. I mean, the Leo
Well, I mean,
moon though.
the Leo moon has the thing for Gabby. And also you have to
Yeah,
think about the fact that all of those Pisces placements are just sextiling all of Gabby's stellium. So,
that's right. That's
like
right.
there's still connections to it, but it
Yeah.
blatantly does scream like, oh shit,
Yeah.
Rachel.
Holy
You
shit,
know,
Rachel. Yeah.
with Jupiter at 17 degrees, where is Rachel's sun? I never remember the degrees. I need
That's
to start
okay.
doing that.
That's the that's the one thing. Well, Rachel's Mars is at 17 degrees of Pisces.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Okay, an expanding of like severance and well, her son's at 18 then.
Her son
So
is at 18.
yeah, so
Yeah,
I mean
so
it's
it's
like
right there.
right on the
Yeah.
sun
And
Mars thing.
then we've got it's interesting that Mercury was at the beginning of Pisces because that's the same placement in her chart. She's at
Mhm.
1
Yeah,
of
that's at
Pisces and
9.
that's 9, but like it's an interesting similar configuration.
Yeah.
Um
And then Neptune is
at 22.
her Neptune was still in Capricorn, right?
Yes, her
Yeah.
Neptune's at 27 Capricorn.
Mhm.
But what is interesting is that the sun's at 25 of Pisces in this announcement,
Mhm.
and her Saturn's at 26.
Ooh. Yeah, so there's a
Yeah.
lot of lighting up
A
of
lot of activation for her
that.
chart.
But then that would mean that the sun would be pretty closely sextile Gabby's Venus and Saturn as well,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So it's all hitting their important relationship bits, right?
Mhm.
Because I think that you can make a strong argument that like Moon Saturn, Venus Saturn is marriage,
Mhm.
So
Definitely.
I think it's nice that it's highlighting everybody's Saturn, I guess.
Yeah, it
I
is.
love
It really
Saturn though,
is.
so
I really, you, the Capricorn rising, like Saturn, weird. And then of course I'm like Miss Taurus rising, like I love their Venus involvement.
yeah, you guys will notice this. I'm always going to gravitate towards talking about people's Saturns.
Mhm. I know. I'm here for it though.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think, there is that Mars Venus conjunction right there. And I think
Yeah.
that that's really interesting to think about in terms of like
Oh.
charisma and stuff, right? And how there's like that like
Mhm.
relationshipy kind of, there is like a focus on the inner planets and like the relational
Yeah.
astrology.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I didn't even notice that. And that is so apt for themes of, I love that actually Mars and Venus are conjunct, although this was during Venus's besiegement. Look at
Yeah,
that.
it
This was during the
was.
besiegement.
As it's right in front of
So,
my face, and I'm like,
no,
oh
but
my God, it was besieged.
but like we were saying earlier, sometimes it doesn't hit me the things that are happening in
Yeah.
chart till I'm looking right at it. And we do have that. Like I like this
That
story is
does
like unfolding in front of me because
the
I
the
see Venus
besiegement.
leading Mars to Saturn,
Ooh,
right?
interesting. Yeah, and it
Uh-huh.
does feel like with the besiegement that maybe like Venus doesn't necessarily want to do like the Venus things right now. Like maybe it's not meant to
It's
have this long-lasting marriage thing. Maybe it's just meant more for like self-development for them.
yeah,
Or this
maybe.
is like bigger for them on like a massive scale of like character,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And then the moon is opposing all of that in Leo,
Yeah.
unless it ingressed into Virgo at the moment of that announcement. Because we're not exactly sure the exact time.
Yeah. It was approximate because
Yeah.
I watched it, like a year ago, but Anna didn't write down the time, so
Yeah.
bad
I'll probably
astrologer.
do some crazy digging and figure it out, but that feels
I
really
tried.
extra.
I tried.
I believe you.
I scrolled through Instagram for like 2 hours trying to find a post that
Right.
was like exactly at the time.
Oh my God. I might go back and find when the episode aired live.
It aired at 8 p.m. Eastern time
Okay.
on the whatever date that is, the 15th
Yeah,
of March.
the
It
15th.
aired at 8
Okay.
p.m. So I thought that maybe like 30 minutes in, maybe it was 2 hours long. So
Uh-huh.
maybe like 30 minutes, an hour in, maybe they announced it, hour and a half,
Yeah.
something like that.
I'm going to be crazy and go back and find the episode, and I'm going to find the exact moment and then calculate back, including commercial breaks.
Okay, that's actually very smart.
That's
I
going to
should have
be
done that.
my no. That was good. I wouldn't have thought to go to the Instagram because that's smart.
That's
They do
funny how
announce
we think
everything.
of doing things in two different ways.
Oh yeah.
It's
That
very,
shows up in our Mercury.
yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, the Sag Mercury was like, I'm going to do it the hardest way possible.
I'm going to do it in this way that's like roundabout, but definitely will give me the result I want. And then you're like,
Yeah. Like, okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I don't know if it's necessarily my Mercury in Cancer that did that though. That might have been more of just like the Aquarius midheaven, like I'm gonna find the direct path.
Well, you would think though with my Scorpio midheaven that I would be better equipped for the sleuthing, but like I guess not.
Oh my God, the sleuthing. That is such a Scorpio. But I did also notice the North Node is at in the announcement chart 24 degrees of Taurus.
Yes.
And Gabby's Mars is at 27.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah. I like
The funny
that.
thing too is weirdly, I feel like there's so much shit about Clayton in this chart still.
Dude,
Like,
yes.
I don't know how, but it feels like there's a Clayton signature on the chart.
There is, because there's the Leo moon.
Mhm.
There's the Aries. Oh my God, the Chiron in Aries is actually hilarious.
So it's funny that they had such big hurt
Yeah.
from Clayton and it's the Chiron and Aries.
It's the
Yeah.
Chiron in Aries.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's
God.
funny.
I mean, Chiron would have been transiting Aries throughout his season too. So that would, oh my God, I wonder if Chiron was hitting his Venus.
Ooh. That's kind of
It
smart.
would have been earlier. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, and also in the episode, like it made me laugh. Okay. Like his parents basically were like, yeah, dude, you fucked up. What are you doing? Like his dad was like, you screwed the pooch, dude. Like, why would you do that?
That's hilarious.
So like his parents had no sympathy for him either.
Oh my
They were kind of
God.
like, what are you doing? We didn't raise you like this. So I think that that's really funny that happened during the season as well. So it was probably a little bit of a traumatizing experience for Clayton, you know.
Oh, well, I mean, we have to do the caveat of we understand that The Bachelor is a terrible way to find love. It is a bad, traumatizing experience for most people that go through it. But at the same time, those limiting, difficult Saturnian, shall we, experiences, definitely we see a lot of growth through the people who go through it.
Yeah.
But we are doing this with the understanding that this is hilarious and fun entertainment
fun.
that everyone has agreed to participate in, so I can respect that.
Yeah. Okay. I think maybe we should dive into our thoughts on the first two episodes and kind of things that like really struck out to us and that kind of thing. Maybe
definitely.
I feel like we have a good basis.
Oh, we have a great basis.
Yeah. Everybody knows kind of what's going on. So full disclaimer, we do not have any of the boys charts. We do not know. This is all guessing. So it's not meant to be formal. Don't take any of this as truth. It is not. This is just a fun musings. So
yeah. And throughout the season, as we watch, we're gonna be trying to engineer their rising signs.
Yes.
I think we'll be able to come close because we know their perfection year.
Gabby and Rachel, not the boys.
Yes.
Well, I don't think
we'll know their
maybe
perfection years based on their age, but and I'm sure we'll get some of their charts as we go along too. We'll probably wait till we have a few like final guys.
Some smart person will probably put them in Astro Data Bank.
That, or I'll just like stalk them on the internet.
Yeah, you can find someone's birthday very easily actually. And you can get a rough idea.
Yeah, definitely. I did that with I forget what season, but I did it with some of the Bachelor contestants a few years ago.
I did that with one of my friends because I couldn't figure out. I don't know why I didn't just ask them.
Right. It's like Facebook is a lot less embarrassing way to find this out.
I was like, oh, I'm just gonna look.
Oh, perfect. Great. So yeah, I guess jumping off into it, that first episode where all
They
the guys
met
were
all the
coming
guys.
in. Yeah, that was a long night. And one of the highlights of that night was they did not do a rose ceremony.
Yes.
All the guys were gathered for the rose ceremony, but they decided, we haven't actually had time to meet all of these guys. We don't actually know if we have any connections. So we're just going to ask, was it just 3 guys or was it 4?
No, they just gave a rose to 2 people because they did their first impression roses.
Oh, well, they did the first
Yes.
impression rose, the 2 people, and then they just gently asked a few people to leave. I know it was
Yes, it was the
yeah,
magician. They asked
the
the magician to
magician.
leave.
Wasn't that Roby?
Roby?
I think that was his name.
Yeah, I think that was his name. Yeah.
Roby. Let me see. I have their Roby 33.
I liked
magician.
him. I liked
I
the
did
magician
too.
thing.
He was very sweet.
Like, that would have gotten me, like,
Yeah. But I guess they just didn't. They just knew right off the bat. And then it was the twins.
Yes, they asked the twins to go. Yep, those are the 3 people. Yeah,
that was it.
Okay. Which a thing with that for me. Okay, is I would like to know, was that something that they wanted to do it, where they told them goodbye like that in person? In that way, because that was the first time that has ever happened.
Yeah.
Like in that context of like first night, you had to ask somebody to leave. Like,
I don't think, I think it was their idea. I do think that they were like, from watching the episode, it sounded like they didn't want to make decisions on guys they hadn't spoken to, but they had already spoken with Roby and the twins, and they already knew that wasn't
that
like
makes sense.
They didn't want to do that, but
which is very indicative of that, like Saturn Pisces. Like Rachel wanted to feel it out more, and like Gabby was straight up like, no, I just know.
Yeah, but then that kind of plays into Rachel's first one-on-one with Jordan, the drag racer, because then she pulled that same thing where she and that was killer too, because at the cocktail party, she and Jordan got along so well.
Yes, she had that spark. Yeah.
Yes.
Which I think for her, then it meant that it wasn't necessarily like a lack of physical attraction or like the initial attraction. I think that was there, or she wouldn't have asked him on the date. But then there was just something like deeper missing for her, or just like felt off,
Yeah. And I think that speaks so clearly to her Pisces placements. And also probably the Taurus Venus, like just
I was thinking
clarity
that too.
of values. Like, I feel like she's so intuitive.
Yes, she feels she feels very in tune with herself, 100%. And it was like in the last season, she just like cried all the time.
Sweet Pisces child. Oh, baby. I'm sure this will start happening. And what did she say? Oh, that's a preview. I'll come to that later. But yeah, so that was interesting to watch. And then another thing I thought was really interesting was Gabby's first one-on-one.
Yes, she had Nate.
Yeah, with Nate. And there was that immediate connection. They're both crying over dinner when he's talking about his daughter.
Which honestly,
really sweet.
It makes me so happy to have such a Capricorn person on a reality TV show, because I feel like Gabby is just really breaking down that whole like Capricorns are unfeeling and like we don't like anything, or like we can't show emotion. I appreciate that for her,
Absolutely. Because Capricorn is like, it's an earth sign, so maybe it's more grounded in its emotions, but that doesn't mean that they don't feel them.
Yeah. I just don't like showing my emotions publicly, but
exactly. They're more intentional about how it's expressed.
I will cry alone on my bathroom floor all day, but like I don't want anyone to see that.
Fair enough. Definitely.
Just maybe that's more Aquarius for me, but
yeah, I'm really interested to see what Nate's placements might be, because he got so emotional about his daughter so quickly, which is really sweet. And then I thought it was really interesting, and I was like looking through her chart trying to figure it out, but how she was talking about, she's a daddy's girl. Like her dad has always done everything for her. He always wanted to be a dad, but she doesn't really have a relationship with her mom.
Honestly, though, I see that with the Leo moons that I
Mm.
know because I feel like it's almost as though their mother was selfish,
Ooh.
where it's like they didn't necessarily like not want the child. It's not that they
Mhm.
like don't want to have a relationship with them, but it's like every time whenever it comes down to the child or the parent kind of isn't there,
Wow.
or like doesn't
Yeah.
have that support in the same
Yeah.
way.
Or the parent is more absorbed with their own
Mhm.
life and therefore doesn't
And like
know that.
to be fair, a lot of the times the parent has shit going on where like it is
Yeah.
serious and it is important.
Yeah.
So like it's not just like
Mhm.
there's a ton of bad parents, but that's
Some
something I've
different kids
noticed.
experience that differently. So for some kids that like need that. Yeah.
Mhm. It can
So
be
that,
really hard.
yeah, definitely. And I was also thinking about how let me see. So it's not opposing her Saturn. It's more so her moon's in, what is it? Is that called aversion since it can't see all of the stuff in Capricorn?
I usually just like say that it's like blind too. I
It's
don't know.
blind
I
too.
I
I
don't
don't
I
know
don't
what
have
that
all the
word.
technical words.
See, if we're learning. Somebody, if you know what aversion means, tell us and we will go over
Please.
it in the next episode.
Yes.
Or I'll probably Google it after this because I'll just be curious.
We will learn shortly.
Yeah. But it's interesting that yeah, the moon is blind to the sun.
Mhm. Yeah.
Hmm.
She almost doesn't know what she
And she,
needs.
yeah, and she said that she doesn't know. She was thinking, am I ready to be a mom? Do I want to
Mhm.
be a mom? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know if I'd be good at that.
Mhm.
So I think
I
that'll
feel
be,
that though from like just
yeah.
a Capricorn perspective on
Mhm.
like the like need for high standards and everything that you do, which I think you feel that too with the
Yes.
like maybe it's an earth sign thing.
I feel like that's a Capricorn experience for sure with
Yeah.
the expectations of Saturn
hmm
ruling it for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
because she wouldn't want to enter into something that was that important, and like
mhm.
not be good at it, which I'm sure
Yeah.
it is colored by the experience that she has with her own mother. Like if her mom
Yeah.
wasn't there, and then she
Mhm.
definitely would be afraid of being, a bad
Yeah.
mom.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that'll be a really interesting journey to continue to watch and might give us some clues about
Which
his
weirdly for
rising.
me, I feel like the decision with Nate will come down to if Gabby is ready to like be a mom or
Yes.
not,
No, it
like
will because they get along. They have great
yeah.
chemistry. So I think that
Mhm.
definitely will be her.
Yeah. Which
You know,
I'm curious if he's a Sag Mercury too, because they both did
mm,
the like stupid voices thing, and like
yeah.
Nate did not miss a beat. Like he didn't
Yeah.
think it was weird. You know what
No,
I
he
mean?
just joined right in and I
So,
loved that.
so I was like, oh,
Mhm.
maybe.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. Oh man, I can't wait to look at some of these guys' charts. Like once
Yeah.
they start clicking, I'm so excited to
Mhm.
see because I'm wondering what it is that's gonna like draw them in repeatedly,
Mhm.
like because we'll have a lot to look at.
Yeah, and it would be interesting to kind of almost like hypothesize, like, okay, are a lot of these like really first hit connections moon synastry, where it's kind of that
Mm-hmm.
like easy, you just feel comfy.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah. And then looking in to see, when does Saturn start coming into play?
Yes.
Who is playing with Venus a little bit more?
Which they're all
So
kind of around the same age. So like we can know like what
yeah.
outer planets and stuff are
Yeah.
doing at this point. So they're probably all like Cap Neptune and Uranus Gen.
Yep.
hmm So they'll
Yeah.
all have that.
Yep. And then the Saturns will either be in Cap, Aqua, or Pisces.
hmm
Maybe some Aries, because I did notice there's some young men on there. There's some
Are
like
there really people my
23 and
age?
24-year-olds. Yeah, dude. I was
Really?
like, why?
Okay, but I can't. I don't know. I mean, maybe since Gabby has that Saturn Venus thing, like maybe she does
Mm-hmm.
want someone who has like a very different age from her.
Actually, you know what? Now that I'm
You know?
going through it, I'm looking at a list of all the guys' names and ages,
Mhm.
and it looks like they got rid of most of the younger guys in the first rose
That's
ceremony.
funny.
They did. The ones who are 23, gone.
Gone.
The ones who are 24, gone. 25 is the youngest age that stuck
Yeah.
around. That's,
They
hey,
said
discernment. They knew.
they said no to the Saturn and Aries. I don't blame you guys.
After
Tough out here.
Clayton and all of
Yeah.
that Aries, they're like,
Why
we
would they?
sussed you out.
Yeah. No
Oh,
joke.
that's funny.
That's
Yeah, that's
funny.
interesting.
Okay. Yeah. So they're going more for like people their age then.
Yes, thank God.
Okay. Because whenever I see like Saturn and Venus, it definitely feels like age differences, you know, in dating.
Mhm.
So sometimes, not always,
I
but
can see that. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. And then I guess another situation that highlighted their placements was the whole Chris situation.
Yes, Chris.
Yes. So Chris, wow. And I'm glad that we talked about their last season because now this will have
Yeah.
all the necessary context.
Yeah.
But Chris
Probably
was
for you too, now that you like,
yeah,
yeah,
I
you didn't know.
about, and they kept alluding to it, and I was like, I
Mhm.
should have watched it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Chris was a contestant who randomly in the house one day just decided decided to bring up the potential of the fantasy suites
Mhm.
and proposed the scenario where if you got to fantasy suites and you're one of that final four, and number one, the term final four, it's not a game show, Chris.
Yeah, and also
I
it's
get it, but
was this the second week or the first week? It was the second week, yeah.
it was
'Cause
the second.
yeah, they
Well,
were finally about to do which they hadn't had
yeah,
a
you're
rose
right.
ceremony yet. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
he brought
it's
up
week 2
it's week 2.
with 0 rose ceremonies yet. I
No
would just like
roses
to
have
put
been
that.
given out. And he and Gabby and Rachel later clarified they had never had a conversation with this man. They did not know him. They had not had conjoint or separate conversations.
Yeah.
And that's where the
Presumptuous.
twins went wrong. Why did they have a dual conversation?
I
They should have
don't
just
know.
separated. I'm just
I don't
saying.
know.
Anyway,
Like, why would any woman want, or anybody in general, want
no.
someone to come to them jointly and like make you sit with your person that's in it together?
And then they're like the two of them and the two twins, and they're just looking in between like, I have nothing going.
Maybe it works for them in real life,
Maybe.
and that's scary.
I have seen shit like that.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
Like I know some twins.
That's
and they don't
probably
do
why
that.
twins marry twins, because the synastry literally works.
I didn't even think about that. Oh my
That
God.
just hit me.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a whole nother can of worms,
Whole
but
thing.
oh yeah. But so Chris had brought up the situation. If you were one of the final four and you went into fantasy suites, and you found out that they had slept with other people, that what would you do? Because for me, and this is Chris speaking, for me, that would be a deal breaker and I would leave.
You need to do like a really stupid little voice where it's like,
I would for me. Doing my stupid Chris voice. And
we're not calling him stupid. We're just
just the voice is stupid.
Just the voice is stupid.
My stupid voice. And so basically he was saying, if I was one of the last four and they slept with other people, I would leave because I can't deal with that. And he was trying to get support for this take. And immediately all the men were like, bro, what? Yeah. And then they started asking, like, would you tell them that was your ultimatum beforehand? And now with
that's
the context, he goes, well, that would depend.
Which it should never depend.
It should never depend. If that's one of your ultimatums. And this kind of ties into the kids thing for me, for Gabby, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yes. I feel like if you're going into the Bachelorette and you know that you're going to be meeting someone that you're going to marry, you should know exactly what you're looking for, exactly what your boundaries are. If having kids is not on the table for you, you should know that day one.
Yeah.
That's true. Just and that's why I was a little surprised that she was like, I don't have to make this decision now. Cause I'm like, girlfriend, yes, you do. Like, you might be marrying this guy and you don't know.
I mean, though, like, I can't really say that I wouldn't do the exact same thing, though.
Okay.
Like, to be honest, like, just
Capricorn perspective. That's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. Cause
interesting.
I feel like it's one of those where it's like a big decision, right? So I feel like I take like a month to think about big decisions.
That's so Saturn.
I don't do anything fast.
Mhm.
So I feel like for Gabby, it's like a stall for time. It's not necessarily that she's not thinking about it or that she
That's
doesn't
fair.
know. She probably knows in her head what she's willing to do, but she probably didn't want to
Mhm.
tell reality TV,
That's fair.
exactly what her
Mhm.
thoughts are. So she probably just needs the time to process.
That's fair. I do be taking people at face value when and forgetting that there's context sometimes. So yeah, so he had said that it would depend on the situation, and it kind of devolved from there. But I was personally very impressed with how the guys dealt with it.
Mhm.
Um, they all were kind of like, no, well, we shouldn't be talking about this right now. Like, we're right at
Mhm.
the beginning. Also, why
Yeah.
wouldn't you tell them? Because considering the situation they were just in, and Chris just
Mhm.
doubled down,
Yeah.
defended himself the
He
whole
was
way
just
through.
it does make me question if he was one of those people that they just brought on because they thought that he would be dramatic and interesting, because
Yeah.
sometimes I do wonder how much of it is editing and how much of it is that they actually are like that. Because there's
Yeah.
some shit that's hard to
Yeah.
believe,
Yeah.
or it's like, wow.
That's true. It's like, I mean, someone working in customer service, people will do anything.
True.
People
There is
will.
like a very special, like bitter place that you reach whenever you work in customer service,
Ah,
You just like
I'm over it. I'm ready to be done. Oh my God.
okay, but
Yeah.
basically, whenever that all happened,
Hmm.
and then the boys, as always, there's always the group of people that decide to tell the girls, right? Or
Yeah.
the
Which
people in charge.
I
Fair.
appreciate that. I do.
Yeah.
I'd rather
Um,
know.
I think sometimes there are the people that do want to start drama, but I think
Yes.
genuinely these guys were interested in just
Hmm.
having them know because it's a pretty outlandish thing to say 2 weeks in.
Yeah. After you haven't spoken to them at all.
So then
Hmm.
Gabby and Rachel were like, he did what? And
Oh
they
yeah, that
decided that
was
they
my
needed to
that
talk.
was my favorite. When they pulled Rachel, told
Mhm.
Rachel, and then she immediately interrupts Gabby's conversation. Can I steal you for a second? Yeah, what's going on? Oh my God. Oh my God, what? I loved it. Immediately, I'm like, I'm sold on this relationship. I'm sold
Yes.
on this friendship.
Their signs were so loud in how they
So
handled it
loud.
too. And
Yes.
like, Rachel, I think she was trying to be really understanding. Like she was trying so hard. Like she was willing to listen and like maybe like, okay, maybe he's not an asshole. Like maybe there's just like some context we
Hmm.
missed.
But she
No.
definitely looked like triggered
Yeah.
because it was a fantasy suite situation, and
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
clearly a very sore spot for them.
Well, yeah. I mean, of
Yeah,
course it would
as it
be.
should
And
be.
also, like, it happened on national TV. Like, you cannot tell me that that wasn't embarrassing for them, like, in their own lives. Like,
Yeah.
they can't walk around anymore. Like, everybody on TV knows what they did. So, like,
Yeah.
or like how it shook
Or
out.
how it
So,
happened. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So I loved Gabby's immediate, direct Capricorn, like Saturnian, like, so you think it's okay to go around talking about fantasy suites 2 weeks in? That was how she started the conversation. I watched it with Austin and he goes, oh, holy shit. She went right in.
Honestly, though, it was funny because, like, the whole conversation made me laugh because I was like, that's how I sound in arguments.
Yeah. So this is what you're doing. You think that's a
Yeah.
good idea?
So,
Okay.
you thought about that with your brain and you decided that it was smart.
Need to
Sorry,
go
I don't mean
green
to
tea
use
everywhere.
it.
No, you're fine. I decided to drink while you were speaking. I should have known. Um, but yeah, that was, I liked how that
Mhm.
started.
I
I
did
thought it
too.
was wild that he continued to double down.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. And like that he tried to talk over both of them. Like he
Yeah.
interrupted Rachel and then he
Mm-hmm.
just tried to like talk louder to assert
Mm-hmm.
himself. And I loved how Gabby handled it. I think Rachel handled it very well too. But I
Yes.
loved that Gabby just kept at the same tone,
Same
just
tone,
like
same
trucking
level.
on, just talking. And I was like, wow, what a bad bitch move.
Oh
Like
yeah.
the power.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, they were so sweet. How Rachel was like, "You handled that beautifully." No, you handled that
It was
beautifully. I'm
so
like,
sweet. Really, like a part of me just wants there to be like a screw all the guys, Rachel and Gabby just end up together and
I'm like, why don't you guys just marry each other? You'd have the best communication. Like,
Yeah, honestly.
except they don't, because they have not
They
figured out
don't.
how they're doing this yet.
Yes,
And I'm
they have
like,
not talked about everything. And
I
honestly,
know. I was
it kind of
shocked.
like I know why Gabby did it because like we both talked about this. We would have done it the same way too.
Yeah.
Whenever Rachel really liked what was his name? Logan? Was it Logan?
Yeah, I think it was Logan
Logan, yeah. And
Yeah.
Logan had made put the moves on both Gabby and
and
Rachel, which
Rachel.
I don't think he's gonna last very long anyways, because he just feels very slimy to
He
me.
does.
But
He feels so
just
fake.
he feels gross.
Yeah.
So but Gabby didn't even say anything about the whole what had happened with Logan, which
Mhm.
really I feel like Rachel wouldn't feel the same way about Logan if Gabby said what he had done, because Rachel wants someone who's
Yeah.
there for her. Like she wants to be
Yes.
very comforted in the fact that it's only her, like very focused,
Yeah.
and he's not. So
No. And I think that's something that's going to be highlighted probably soon. I've been seeing it in all of the commercials and all the
Mhm.
next weeks. So I do think they're going to come up with a system. Might
They
be,
have to.
they have to.
Mhm.
And then the implementation of that system, I think, is where we're going to see that, um, is it Jupiter that's currently conjunct her Mars? Or that was
Jupiter's in
in the
Aries. Jupiter's in Aries right now.
or at the time of the oh no, you're right. I
Oh,
was trying to remember what we were looking at. There's something where
yeah, because
her Mars was
this all happened.
highlighted.
This all happened a while back because they
Yeah,
reported it early. Oh,
yeah.
that makes it so hard with
I
figuring out
know the transits and
timing stuff is.
everything.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at
Yeah, because
the
we won't know exactly when everything was filmed. So we won't be able to like
exactly.
speculate where the moon was or more of the inner planets, but we can probably
Yeah.
have a gauge for Jupiter.
Mm-hmm. No, there was something I remember when we were looking at the announcement chart. There was something on Rachel's Mars Sun conjunction. So
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's where we'll see like a little bit of tension.
I don't know. I'm
I can't
sorry.
remember either. No, it's okay. I don't know.
There's too many charts and things.
There are too many. I'm like scrolling. I'm like, I don't know which one it is.
For
But
anybody
yeah,
listening to this, do not feel bad if you have to reference a chart a billion times.
yeah, we certainly do.
Yeah.
We're trying our best here. But yeah, no, I definitely think it's gonna be a challenge.
Mhm.
I think more for Rachel than for Gabby, just
Really?
because I do. I think Rachel's gonna take things a little bit more personally. And it
Mhm.
is a very personal
Mhm.
experience, but I think she might have a more of a tendency to internalize it and be like, we already saw in one of the previews where she's like, is there something wrong with me? Like, do these guys just not like me? We saw that in the second
Mhm.
episode when they had like their small group date, and she's like, at first I thought these guys didn't like me because like they weren't
Yeah.
doing anything, but now I feel a lot better because they gave me attention.
That's very interesting with the North
Yeah.
Node action going on in that in the chart then, because that does feel a lot like there is like an evolution happening for Rachel of how she sees herself. But I would also like to add how much of that is because it is more impactful on Rachel and how much is just the fact that Gabby's not sharing it, because like Rachel seems
Ooh.
a little bit more open with talking about the things, but like
Yeah.
Gabby feels a little bit more closed. Like, yes, she is talking about
Yes.
things and she is being open, but like she's not talking about how she feels.
I agree. I think I've been noticing that. And sometimes Gabby feels like the way she talks, like, and the way she interacts with the guy sometimes is sometimes so stiff. And it's
Mhm.
weird because we can all see that that's not her. Like, we
Yes.
know because she
Mhm.
has those little Sag Mercury moments, like in the hot tub where she's just, oh, I've never been with a mature man, like making a goofy little voice. And it's like, those are the moments that I love watching her. And then other times I'm like, maybe it's just that I can tell when she's just not into someone because she's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
nice. She does say it exactly like that.
Yeah. That's
I do love
totally
that she does do
fair.
the little thing with her lips.
She's so funny.
I love it. I love her. I think she's awesome. But I do think that she's closed off.
Yeah. And Rachel's a lot more easy to
Mhm.
read, I think. I
Yeah.
can tell in a second when that girl is checked out or thinking about something else or having a realization like, I don't like you.
Well, you should also
on her
like
face.
really last season, if you saw how she
Mhm.
was with Clayton, oh It was
Really?
wild. Like she just,
Really?
it was like, you know how you feel whenever you're like middle school giggly and you have like your first kiss and shit? It was that for the whole season. It was
Oh
wild.
no.
I was like, oh my God. Rachel was like really invested and into
Fully
him.
in.
Yeah. Like she had all of her guards down. Like she was
She's definitely more guarded now.
Oh my God, yeah. I was thinking about that while
Definitely.
I was watching through them. I was like, she is not acting like she was last season at all, like with
Wow.
any of them. Which, granted, it's only the second week, but
Someone's gonna really
Mhm.
have to make her feel safe and
Yes.
special.
Yeah.
And then
Someone is gonna, yeah.
I think it'll be, so I think the process will be a more, or well, we'll see it be more emotionally difficult for Rachel. Like we'll
Yes.
see her watch it on her sleeve. But I
Mhm.
think at the same time, she will flow into the right relationships
Mhm.
a little bit more easily.
Yes. The one thing I worry about is I do think maybe like Gabby is getting into like, because even though she says she doesn't know if she's ready to be a mother, she seems like the mother friend already,
Mm,
kind of, because
mhm.
she's very like into friendship, seems very important to her. It's like the first thing. I worry that she's gonna almost like get in her own way, where like she values the friendship with Rachel much more than she does being able to find someone in this process.
Yeah.
So she almost like kicks herself in the ass because she's not willing to talk about it or say something whenever she really likes someone if it would
Yeah.
detriment something with Rachel.
That'll be
So
interesting to see.
that would be interesting if that's more of where we see the focus on Rachel from
Mhm.
the chart, is because like Gabby's concerned about Rachel and Rachel's concerned about Rachel. Not that Rachel's
Uh,
not concerned about Gabby, but
but
just that,
yeah,
you
no, I
know.
mean, in this process, you have to be concerned with yourself. You
Mhm.
have to be so in tune with what you're experiencing
Mhm.
in order to make something of the experience.
Mhm.
So you
Yep.
can't really be, this is going to be such an interesting experience to like witness. And I'm so
Watch it
excited.
unfold.
Oh my God. I cannot believe that there's literally a contestant who owns like the basketball hoops in Wildwood, because
Oh
when I
my
saw him
God.
on the screen and it said Wildwood NJ, I shit you not, girl. I said he looks someone who would like own one of those boardwalk t-shirt shops. Shit you not. And then he brings out those basketballs. I'm like, yo, of course.
It's not the flex you think it is.
I know. And he's doing it. He seems like this. He says entrepreneur. And I'm like, I've been to Wildwood, my friend. I've probably seen your thing. And let me tell you.
We shouldn't shit on how a man makes his living, but
No, but I'm just saying, like, I knew who he was when I saw it said Wildwood.
that's amazing. It's like he looks like that. Okay, also,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just going into it. I'm sorry. Maybe we should pull up the photo. I want to talk about Tony. Okay.
Okay.
I want to talk about Tony. Okay. I don't know. Do we need to pull up his photo or are we good just to
Tony or Tino?
Tino? Oh my God.
Tino.
He is Tony. Okay, that
Tino.
says something too.
No, we
Okay.
can just say Tino.
Okay.
He's the general contractor from California. He's the guy that came in on the forklift.
Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
Tino. His face. Okay. Like, I just, I
I don't
know his face.
understand it.
I know it.
You
And
know it?
it is just the frat boy from the South. If you had to choose one, it would be his face. And I think that some of them are very nice. Yes, some of them are nice. But I'm just like, Rachel, girl, please, no, because like I
Ooh.
know her. Like I know that she's a little like Florida sorority girl. I know it in my
Yes.
heart. But I'm like, please,
Yep.
for the love of God, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
He
And he just
seemed
feels like off to me.
like
Ugh.
he seemed nice at first, but it felt like there wasn't a lot of depth once
Mhm.
it kept going.
Yeah.
And then I didn't recognize him during the rose ceremony. I'm like,
Mhm.
who is that guy? And she
His
said Tino, and he
yeah.
walked up and I'm like,
His
that's
face looks
Tino?
different from front on than from the side.
It does.
I don't know. I'm like, okay. And I don't
Yeah.
really know. I didn't really like think too hard about what his astrology would be because I was just
Mm,
like the general, like,
me
I
neither.
don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know how I feel about him.
I
Yeah,
know. We
me
have
too.
such a good baseline now.
Yeah. I feel like
Yeah.
this feels like a good baseline. I feel like
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
I feel complete with it. Except for I would
Definitely.
just like to say if one other of them mentions that they're an alpha male. I can't. I don't know.
It's the silliest
Like
thing.
why? I just don't get it. I don't know. If you
I
watch
like,
wolves, like the wolf that is out there and is like, howling the loudest and shit, like it's like that is Moon Moon, It is
yeah,
it is not it's not the alpha wolf.
yeah.
Did that reference make any sense?
I gotcha.
Okay. If everybody doesn't remember, Moon Moon was a meme.
It was throwback to the Moon Moon memes. But genuinely, like, I don't think that will bode well with
Mm-mm.
either of them
No.
because they are both very successful and
Mhm.
ambitious and intelligent and
Yeah. They have
alpha
their shit
females,
together.
if you will. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I won't, but they do have their
alpha
shit together.
females.
Yeah, right. It's all of us. Spoiler.
It's
Every female is the alpha.
we just come inherently. Oh, I feel alpha cat ears.
Oh my god. But yeah, I will be very interested to see how they deal with those kinds of energies.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good. It's
Yeah.
gonna be good.
So don't forget to tune back in and
Mhm.
see how we think it's going. I don't know. Maybe you could watch it yourself, see how you think it's going. But
Yeah. Let us know what you think if you have looked at their charts, if you have any predictions. I don't have a lot of predictions about the gentleman just yet. I feel
Mhm.
like we need one more episode, see
Yeah,
a little bit more interaction because we got a slower start because
we
of that
did.
first rose ceremony.
Mhm.
And we have two bachelorettes that are exploring
Yes.
connections with the same guy. So I think it is going to be a
Mhm.
slower burn.
Yeah. And I think
So
that this week is where everything's going to kind of speed up because there will be
yes,
that. I think that they reach ahead in this next week where they kind of have to come up with the system like we're
come up
talking
with a
about.
plan. Yep.
So I think
So
that that's really gonna,
yeah,
that is gonna change some shit.
definitely. I'm really excited to see how that plays into everything and how they're
Mhm.
going to continue to express their charts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess, do we want to tell everybody where to find us?
Yeah, certainly. You can find, let's see, where can they find us, Anna?
Oh, okay.
I don't know. You can
Okay.
find me at Illuna Astrology on Twitter and Instagram, mostly Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am the Sappy Saturnian on Twitter and I have Instagram, but I never post on it.
Yeah,
And it's
same.
not the same handle. It's mostly just knitting, so I don't know.
That's cool
You guys
though.
might not like that.
They might though. There's a lot of
You
astrology
might
and knitting
though.
stuff going on lately.
That's fair. There is,
Yeah.
and I mean, Twitter has knitting too. I
Oh
just
yeah.
gotta, that's all I post about really.
I love it.
Fifth house moon.
Yeah, and we'll be coming out with a YouTube channel and a website and a
Mhm.
bunch of other places you can find us down in the description box. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.